Las Vegas, a city built on belief and the price people are willing to pay for it. In January of 2019, the St. Louis Blues were the worst team in hockey. Not struggling, not underperforming, dead last. No team had ever climbed from the bottom of the league and finished on top. Not once. But Jared Weiss, an entrepreneur from the age of 14, saw an opportunity.
Are you sure?
They said he might as well have lit the money on fire. They call it impossible. Jared called it familiar. Because this wasn't the first time Jared had bet on something that looked unachievable. He'd learned an important lesson along the way. The bet isn't won at the ticket window. It's won in the dark. It's won in the grind. And when the odds are this long, you don't play the numbers. You play the man.
Yeah, let's just start with Cape. It's a cool city. I've been coming here 15 years now. No, for real. It's the only thing between, Memphis and St. Louis. But I'm a fan. Did you grow up here?
Yep, born and raised here.
How about your dad?
Yeah, Dad was born and raised in Cape Girardeau also.
Weiss family has deep roots here in Southeast Missouri.
Yep, in Southeast Missouri. Just small town living here.
Far from the neon lights of the Strip lies Cape Girardeau, Missouri. It's been called the City of Roses, but don't let the name fool you. This is a river town, built on work that starts early and expectations that don't ask permission. People here don't chase headlines. They build lives. For Jared Weiss, the building doesn't stop. Retail in the fall and winter, turf in the spring and summer. 2 uniforms, 1 relentless drive.
Again, just props for balancing. I mean, you got both flags flying here for the 2 businesses. It's pretty incredible what you've accomplished, man. Proud of you.
I appreciate it. Dad liked to be diversified, and that gives us a little diversity, Mow grass there in the summer, plow some snow in the winter, and hey, we're going to sell some product around Christmas time and when the Blues are hot or the Cardinals are hot, so.
Everyone knows what a holiday grind's like. We're going to be open to close for the month of December, and then you kind of get the rest of the year to not have to grind like that. What you just said is the seasons are flipped. What is the grind in your other business like?
A normal day busy at clean cuts, getting to the shop normally by 5:30 each day and getting the guys started on cutting some grass. But we'll do that all summer and until about October.
There's a lot of hours and the grind and everything, but Jared's the kind of guy that he'll definitely get in there right beside you and do it along with you, especially in the summer when it's 100 degrees out there and the hard work pays off.
It's sun up to sundown if,
13, 14-hour days.
Yeah.
And then you get to go work on your other business.
Yeah. Go home, be with the kids for a little bit, put them to bed, and then we're on the computer placing orders and checking on what stores need, and then office a day a week, just making sure that Roman stuff is running smoothly and staying on top of that during that time of the year. So April to September, the clean cuts, get in. September to January, getting through the holiday rush, get all our inventories done. Then February, March, that's our busy snow times, and then it's right back to April. Just keep the cycle rolling.
One of the coolest things about owning a pro image or owning any business is you get to decide how hard you're going to work each day. And how hard you work directly impacts how successful you can be. I just respect the hell out of you or anyone that works that way.
The harder you work, the more you want it, the more you learn. The time put in is reflected on the outcome of things. So.
Yeah, amen to that. You remember how fun and how blessed we are to get to work in an industry we love and are passionate about, and you keep going.
Work ethic isn't just something you wake up with. It's something you learn. Long before Jared found himself juggling 2 businesses, his father, Brian, was doing the same.
You can see where Jared gets, how he talks to people and manages people. It's a spitting image of Brian. Brian was in the trenches with you. If we had a big order or something in the pizza shop, Brian would be in there helping out, and then he'd have to go off and do some roofing or some other construction thing. Brian was doing multiple jobs all the time too, just kind of like Jared is now.
Brian Weiss had already built a successful construction company and a thriving pizza franchise. But success was never the finish line. Legacy was. And in 2010, that belief found its way into a new venture, a sports retail business built from the confines of his living room.
This is where it all started with the Weiss family and Pro Image Sports. We're at West Park Mall, Cape Girardeau. The first store opened here in 2010, the day before Thanksgiving. It was this tiny store. I want to say it was like 530 square feet.
Yeah.
We packed it all in and we were off and running.
Yeah.
This was a temp store. We were working on a permanent deal and we got kicked out of the temp store because they were putting an AT&T in.
TNT, yep.
So
Dad moved everything out.
Moved everything out, and then, so I was back down for the second opening as well. It's October 2011, and the Cardinals were about to be in the World Series. The night we're setting up the store, they clinched the NLCS. That second store was bigger, but not much bigger.
Might have been 1,200 square feet.
Packed that in, and we're able to capitalize on that Cardinals hot market.
Yep.
And then exact same thing happens. And
Another 30-day notice to leave, and it was just another blow. At that point, Dad was really frustrated. Here, we've taken on this new concept. What are we gonna do? Where are we gonna go? So Dad loaded it all up and packed it into a trailer in his living room at home. And I remember just sitting there for 6 months. Telling everybody, when are you gonna open? When are you gonna open? I'm not signing it until we get a permanent deal. I'm not unloading and putting this stuff back in there again.
Dad was such a good dude because we're like, look, Brian, we'll figure out a permanent lease. But honestly, in a mall like this, there's a lot of vacancy. The chances of you getting kicked out are real small. Like, it could happen, but it's not going to.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it happens twice. And, man, he never complained, like, at least to me. Obviously, he didn't like all that in his living room.
Yeah.
It ended up with this great outcome when we came out in 2012, 3 years in a row, set this store up. This is going to be your 14th holiday season here.
Yeah, we've definitely capitalized on being this front and center spot for that many years.
So with this store and your dad, once we got him the permanent deal, it was going well enough where he felt good about going out to Denver. You know, I know we talked some on this already, but that was him wanting to have two home bases.
Yeah. Dad went to Denver, as you know, because had 4 sports teams. He had every base covered. Oh, hey, I can sell gear all season long. And that started his fuel to go out there. I mean, I remember his kids going out to vacation in Colorado because Dad loved the mountains. And one of the conversations Dad is, I want to retire in the mountains and I'll have my sports stores out there so he can still stay busy and I can come back home if I want. He wanted to do half a year there, and he had it set up to where he still has something to do out there. So opened that store in Colorado. I remember him and his best friend drove out on like a Thursday night. The slat wall showed up Friday morning, and they hung that whole store in slat wall and set the cash wrap and drove back on Sunday night to be back home for Monday morning. And to say that it was spread out and couldn't be 2 different markets, I don't think it.
No, they're very, very diverse markets. It was incredible timing too, because you guys opened the day before Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
2015,
Yes.
and that year the Broncos went on to win the Super Bowl, and it's had this incredible start.
Capitalized on that one too. You know, being at the right place at the right time out there. You know, losing the Rams in St. Louis obviously hurt sales at our Cape Girardeau store, and you know, just losing a home team on NFL was just
It's a gut punch.
It's a gut punch. Yeah.
Some blows are immediate. Others, well, others unfold. In Denver, Brian had laid the foundation for the life he wanted to live in his golden years, but he never got to build upon it. In the months that followed, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and in 2017, he passed away. In this business, you can fix a bad lease, but in life, some losses you don't fix. You just survive.
Well, you never know when you do something or start something, what it's going to amount to. But when you put your whole life and everything into it, it means a lot more. Brian laid the foundation, and I don't know why the Lord took him home, but he did. But that's life. And we have to pick up the pieces and go with them. Brian was pretty quiet. He didn't say a whole lot at times, but the pastor, when he preached his funeral, he said something I always remember. A lot of people thought Brian was shy, but he said, I called him humble. And he was a humble person.
Dad got sick, and as he did with anything, he didn't want to tell anybody. He was, as Grandpa said, humble. You know, he didn't want anybody to hurt for him or worry for him, but the prognosis wasn't good, and the prognosis never got any better. It was a tough summer. I mean, driving Dad to doctor's appointments nonstop, going out of the state to try to get answers, hoping that we could do something. And at that point, you know, Dad started having those conversations with, here's what we have. You can have this store and run with it, but don't ever be afraid that if this isn't what you want and it comes in the way of your family, get rid of it. It's your life to live. This is what I had dreamed of. It doesn't necessarily have to be your dream. I just felt that connection with my dad in this store, in this town. I'm not sure how we did it that first year, working as hard as I could to grow a successful landscaping business, to trying to learn the ropes of this pro image. And looking back, it's like Dad didn't slow down. You know, he took one business and grew it to multiple locations, and he was ready to grow the pro image to multiple locations, so I was ready to keep that going.
Jared was ready and willing to carry the weight of his father's dream. But for a young family still finding its footing, that kind of added weight doesn't always distribute evenly, and not every dream survives the distance.
When Brian passed, these stores just landed on Jared's plate. You know, having a store in your hometown and figuring out how to work that's one thing. You had a store 13 hours away. Speak to that from your perspective of like how hard that store and that grind was just on the family at that time.
To start with, we didn't know what to do. Here's these businesses that you guys now have to deal with in June, which is one of his busiest mowing seasons. Having to go from here out there it was awful.
I would say it was a very hard shift for me to go from getting up, going and mowing every day and getting that work done and doing what I did every day to then thrown into a situation where manager quits. It was multiple managers that we went through in a 6-month period of I had to drive out there. Something's going wrong. There was stealing. Drive out there overnight. It was one thing after another, it seemed like.
Your family did Christmas that year at that store.
I remember looking at their receipts from the year before going, oh my goodness, they did this much business at Christmas time before. I mean, this store wasn't doing that. I said, we've got to go out there. Like, there's no other option. So we packed up and fly 5 of us out there, and our kids lived in the back room for a few days, throwing softy balls back and forth.
It's not a big back room either. You got that one long hallway.
And that had all kinds of inventory in it. It was very challenging. And then we ended up in the ER with Colin one night because he had an asthma attack and his oxygen was so low. So
we made it through it.
You did what you had to do because that's what Weisses do. You roll up your sleeves and figure it out.
Yeah, but I will say, I think that was the turning point of us being like, I think we might need to not do this. That was a very eye-opening week.
Just comes down to family. I couldn't find a good manager at the time. It wasn't really my specialty. Could I swing doing that all the time? And just didn't think it was a viable option, and I don't think Dad would have wanted me to do that either.
If you stay in the game long enough, you eventually learn. Sometimes the only way to hold on to something you love is knowing when to let go.
One of the toughest decisions I've had to make was, you know, walking away from that dream of my dad and the Colorado part of it. After we got through that Christmas and just the hustle and bustle, and it was time, you know. There was another franchisee in Luke that was ready to open in Colorado, and just seemed like the wheels were kind of spinning. At that point, we started having the talks and decided to sell that store. In that process, you know, it was another family endeavor.
We'd been out there with the kids and camped.
We were out there for 6 or 7 days. We would do stuff with the kids in the morning, then we'd go to work in the evening and start boxing stuff up and start putting stuff on sale some more.
We emptied the store completely after, and then got a U-Haul and threw the 3 kids in there and started making that 14-hour drive home.
Driving overnight again with all the kids in the back seat.
The way home Denver trip was the longest trip of my life. And then on the way home, we ran out of gas.
No, we don't have to talk about all that.
Let's talk about how you ran out of gas on the way home.
You're never taking a road trip on 70 again, huh?
Oh, I hate 70. No, I'm not driving across there.
I just remember at the moment, I was like, it was so sad to me that we were closing that store because it was Brian's dream. Yep. But now looking back, it's a good memory of we made a good decision for our family, which is what your dad would have wanted.
And I think that's why we sell in June, July, and I mean St. Louis falls into our lap August, September.
Jared had folded his hand in Denver. It hurt. But he knew the rules. You don't win the pod by hanging on too long. Then, the deck shuffled, and 3 struggling stores in St. Louis suddenly became available. One door closed, another one opened.
When you sold that store in Denver, the last thing on your mind, I assume, was, hey, when am I going to do my next pro image?
No, I was actually told we were going to slow down for a little bit because he had been gone so much. And then he came and he was like, oh, by the way, this is an opportunity that we have, and there we go.
Yep. Here we go. 2 stores was one too many, so let's go ahead and do 4.
Yeah.
And stock them.
Obviously,
and update them.
I think that was actually a little bit more scary for me than Denver. It was a huge learning curve that we just jumped into.
pushed all the chips on the table for the Blues, and
yeah.
There's an old anthem about gambling. For most, it's a warning. But for a businessman, it's a playbook. You've got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. Jared didn't run from risk. He ran toward opportunity. Where the world saw a last-place team and a chain of struggling stores, Jared saw a chance. He realized his father's dream wasn't just the location, it was the foundation. So he went all in on St. Louis. And in 2019, Jared Weiss won 2 bets. One in Vegas that paid out in cash. The other at home that paid out in legacy.
no doubt in my mind, Dad was looking over you, and just to see how everything played out, we're kind of selling his dream, but then he helped us start a new one, and how the Blues played into that. Like, you bought those stores right before the season started. You know, obviously your dad was a huge hockey fan, huge Blues fan.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty special season.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going from worst to first. Can't beat that.
Remind me about that bet in Vegas. You're at the convention in January.
Yeah, had the convention in January. Blues had a good team. I was like, I know they're good. They just went to last place, and it's like, wow, 200 to 1 odds. What's $100 on that instead of at the blackjack table? Came home, said, here, babe, hold on to this ticket. My wife was rather less than happy that I wasted $100 on this Blues bet, because you just wasted it. I said, okay. I said, when they win, I'll take you back out to Vegas and we'll collect all the money.
You did that?
And we did that, yeah.
Yeah, that just led to this incredible success story of you came in and took stores that were going to go away and put your touch on them, and through a lot of hard work, you became the spot in St. Louis for Blues product.
You're right. I mean, we were doing as much in a day as we were doing in a month. We pushed all the chips in and it worked.
Yeah, it was insane. Having people line up throughout the store for like the entire day just waiting on a specific product. We lined up the boxes over the side, put up like one display each, and everybody through the store would come in at the register, just say what they want, and we'd pull it out of the box.
There's nothing better in our business than when a team that you love, that you root for, I mean, you have season tickets, when they win and it makes you money. Like, you're happy in your heart, you're happy with your wallet. We're talking about a period of a year where, man, I'm down to one store, you know, Dad's dream in Denver's not gonna happen, to Blues just won Stanley Cup. We're printing money, and man, I just know he was smiling down on that.
Yeah, you know, the connection that I felt with him during those times was also there. You know, just missing him at the same time as seeing all this go down, wishing we could enjoy that together, you know, but knowing that he was proud of everything.
These stores obviously became the catalyst for, you know, what Eagle Weiss has become.
Yeah, ultimately from the one spot in Cape to 8 years later in Denver to back to one store after Dad passed to 7 full-time stores now. It definitely helped feed the passion to keep it growing.
For Jared, growth doesn't just happen in the boardroom. It happens on a ladder. Because Weisses don't just sign the lease, they build the walls.
Here at Mid Rivers Mall, brand new store just opened. Just been cool to see that you're still plugging away and adding stores, you know, 15 years after Dad started the first store.
Yeah, it's always an exciting time opening a new one and setting it up.
Now, one thing that's been cool about all the stores you and your dad opened is you've done the construction yourselves.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I guess I learned from him. You know, he was in the construction and roofing business starting out.
Walk us through this build out. Like, what did you do?
We come in, identify the walls that need to be taken down, if any, and then what walls we need to construct. I would say it's a very simple build-out process for most of these things. We order the slat wall, we slap it up, and you can kind of hide anything that was there before. There's no drywall work involved. We don't need electrical outlets in the walls, so we bring in my lawn maintenance crew, throw up as much as we can in a day or two. And
we go up to St. Louis on the rainy days, and we'll put up slat wall, and I enjoy that for sure. It's a change of pace.
It also lets me build that vision of how I want to set the store up. This is what wall I want here. This is what wall I want there, as hat walls or beanies here. Put my jackets there.
You've got a lot of skills in your bag.
Yeah, there's some trial and error. I mean, I might have burnt the bulbs out of one sign along the way, but then you figure out how to replace the bulbs and go from there. That's kind of how we grew up, from grandpa to dad to me, teaching each other along the way of how we can do that, and working together as a team to figure out how we can tackle a project and how we can do that.
No, that's impressive, man. You're unique of any of the owners I can think of that, have the abilities to come in and do that. Probably do a lot better job than some of the work we get from the contractors we source out right now.
I can believe that this day and age for sure.
I don't think that wall's coming down.
Jared builds his stores to last. But what makes his business strong is the team inside them.
Jared's the best thing that happened to these stores. Adding stores at Galleria, the store at West County, and just when he bought those, and then everything that he did, all the product that we got in was it saved the stores here.
It's the compassion, the togetherness, the actual family. A lot of jobs preach family, but they don't actually mean it. When you join the STL Pro Image District Group, you are joining a family.
Looking back at it and kind of thinking about where we were to where it is now, I would have never have thought that we'd be on a scale this big.
The dream that started in Brian Weiss's living room has grown into something much bigger. 7 locations, 4 states. From the banks of the Mississippi into Illinois, to the bluegrass of Kentucky, to the hills of Tennessee. Still, numbers only tell part of the story. Because for Jared, like his father before him, success isn't just about expansion. It's about building something worth passing down.
Dad is a hard worker because sometimes he has to go outside when it's snowing.
During winter season, he'll be out plowing until maybe 5 in the morning and finally get to sleep.
I think it's pretty awesome that he's willing to put in the time and effort and sacrifice his time for our lives.
You ever want to run this store one day?
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully? That's what you're shooting for?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How about you, man?
I don't know. I'd rather do the other thing.
Well, if this was your store today, your dad said, here's the keys, what would you do differently?
I want to be a YouTuber because I could show them cool hats and cool shirts, make them come to our store.
Hey guys, my name is Carter and thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. Today we're going to check out Hunter and Sports. Follow me over here. Oh look, they have the new Super Bowl hats in. And this one I like because the birds are very big on the side. This one I like because it's so colorful. Follow me over here. Oh look, they have the brand new toys in. This one I like because they're the Chiefs and I think they are really good.
When mom and dad are at work all the time, the kids got to have somewhere to play and do, so they got their TV and playroom.
Our girls aren't really old enough to do anything yet, but the boys, it's kind of neat to see them kind of both blossom out of both companies and know that we actually they want to be involved. We're not just leaving the house to work. It's a family business.
Yeah, we like to do everything as a family. Yeah. The 14-hour days still don't interfere with kids' sporting activities just in general. And that's what is nice about this. I can stay up till midnight working on an order later if I have to run the kids at 4 or 5 o'clock to a practice or an event.
Was your dad always there for your stuff growing up?
Yeah, Dad never missed anything. And would coach half the stuff that I did so he could be there more often and plan it around his schedule. At the same time, the business wouldn't have grown to what it is without Emily's support either. Her jumping on board, her taking over payroll, her doing a lot of the office tasks that simply I don't have time for that needs to happen for the business. That has helped us grow to the 7 stores.
Somehow, some way, he's always made it work for our family first and then the business, but it's always worked out in his favor, which I think attests to your work ethic and dedication to what your dad started, and you didn't want to fail that, so you've always put it first and made sure that it's going to work no matter what.
Success isn't one in the spotlight. It's one in the dark. It's one in the grind. And when the odds finally turn, you realize Playing the man was never just about betting on yourself. It's about showing up in life for the people who matter most.
The one question I have is, if I could have a conversation with my dad, what would he say? Each time we open a store, it's with his name behind it because he started this and gave us that goal and that gumption. And I know Dad's goal was to give other people opportunities inside the business that he loved, to be in that industry that he felt connected to. So hopefully Dad could look down and be proud of where we're at. I think he would be.
Work ethic isn't something your children inherit. It's something they learn.